He learned too young that love is the first weapon they use against warriors. They took his kindness and broke it over and over until all that remained was steel. He didn't stand alone because he wanted to. He stood alone because no one else could survive where he walked. The fire took everything, and from its ashes, something new was born. He doesn't flinch anymore. He doesn't cry. Whatever was left of that died long ago. They called him a monster like it was a curse, not realizing they were naming their own creation. Monsters don't feel guilt. Monsters don't whisper apologies to ghosts. They become the ghosts. He remembers who he used to be, soft, open, full of hope. They saw that softness as an invitation not to love, but to feed. So he stopped feeding them. He starved them of trust, withdrew the warmth, and froze. They turned their backs when he needed them most. Smile, then silence. Hug, then knife. So he adapted. He buried the broken pieces deep and walked away from his own grave. What rose after that wasn't human. It wasn't supposed to be. It was teeth and silence that screamed louder than words ever could. Compassion turned to dust inside him, love fossilized in his chest. They say monsters feel nothing. They're right, because the ones who feel, die. He stopped reaching out. He stopped asking. He started taking. This world doesn't respect the wounded. It studies them, labels them, and forgets. But the monster becomes legend. Every scar became a chapter. Every betrayal, a blade learned in the dark. Feeling nothing was never a curse. It was freedom. Emotions make you hesitate. Hope makes you weak. Hope whispers lies, maybe they'll change, maybe this time it'll be different. But hope is a leash, and he burned it. Now he moves differently. He sees every lie before it's spoken. He hears the intent before the words. He smells blood before the swing. Therapy failed. God was silent. The people he trusted vanished. But the monster stayed. The monster whispered, "Let me take over. I'll never let them hurt you again." And he believed it, because it was the only voice that didn't lie. Now he walks through storms like they're calm waters. He speaks, and silence follows, not from respect, but fear. His presence is a warning. His breath carries weight. His stare is a blade. They think silence means absence, but it means calculation. The monster doesn't react. He responds. And when he does, there's no rage, only justice. Clean. Surgical. Final. He stopped trying to be the better person. The better person dies first. The better person gets devoured. So he burned that blueprint. He isn't here to be loved or understood. He's here to end what tried to end him. Forgiveness is gone. Closure is irrelevant. What remains is sharpened survival. They say he changed. Good. Change is survival. That man they broke is gone, burned away in the fire they started. What's left is something they can't control. He tried to be human. He tried to be kind. He gave everything, love, trust, loyalty, and they used it as fuel for their lies. They thought they'd broken him, but all they did was forge something indestructible. Humanity was a cage. He broke it. Now, he carries no mercy. Mercy is a luxury for those who haven't walked through hell. He doesn't wait for apologies. He doesn't seek understanding. He doesn't care who falls, only that justice does not. They had their chance to choose him, to stand beside him, but they didn't. They chose deceit. They chose to push until he no longer bled. The pain didn't destroy him. It refined him. It burned the weakness, the doubt, the hope that maybe they were good. They weren't. They were parasites wearing human faces. And he stopped being their host. He doesn't save anymore. He doesn't explain. He doesn't care to be remembered. But the scars will remember for him. The scars speak louder than his voice ever could. They tried to make him disappear. Instead, he multiplied. The world now whispers his name like a warning. The monster they created became their reckoning. Their lies are the fire, and he is the wind that feeds it. He doesn't lift a hand. Their own deeds destroy them. Let them scream. Let them beg. It's too late. He's not a savior. He's the storm they summoned. They called him a monster, and now they face what monsters truly are, not beasts, not mindless rage, but cold, deliberate vengeance wearing a human face. They thought gods couldn't fall. They were wrong. Their thrones crumble, their voices fade, and in the silence that follows, he stands, the only truth left. This is not revenge. It's balance. This is the price. The universe always collects its debts, and he is its hand. He remembers the silence they left him in, the nights they let him drown. He remembers, but he doesn't feel. The man they hurt is gone. What remains is the consequence they deserve. They called him monster. He calls it evolution. They said he was done. They said monsters burn out, that darkness consumes itself. But they were wrong. He didn't fade. He grew. The silence they thought was death was only rebirth. Every wound became a seed, and in the grave they dug for him, something unholy bloomed. He no longer walks with hesitation. Each step is deliberate, each breath measured. His eyes see through deception like glass. The world moves slower around him now, like time itself fears his resolve. He isn't chasing peace. He's hunting balance. The ghosts of the past whisper sometimes, names, faces, old laughter. He doesn't answer them. They had their chance. The warmth they betrayed is gone, replaced by fire so cold it burns. He doesn't forgive. Forgiveness is the language of fools who still believe people change. He knows better now. People don't change. They just hide deeper. The empire that mocked his silence is cracking. Those who once stood tall now look over their shoulders, feeling the weight of what they did. Their lies are coming back for them. Their own hands are stained, and no amount of prayer can wash it clean. He doesn't lift his sword for revenge. He lifts it for memory. Every scar carved into him deserves acknowledgement. Every betrayal deserves its echo. He doesn't need to shout. The silence around him screams loud enough. He moves through the ruins of what they built, empty castles made of hollow promises. The same voices that once cursed him now plead for mercy. But mercy died with his kindness. He watches as their words crumble, their strength fades, their masks slip. They called him a monster. Yet, in their downfall, he sees who the true monsters are, smiling faces, righteous lies, hands trembling with guilt only when the consequences arrive. He lets them face themselves. There is no need for his wrath. The truth is punishment enough. He walks among the ashes of his old life, unrecognizable to the man he once was. He doesn't mourn him. That man was too kind for this world. That man waited too long for people who never cared. That man begged for peace in a world that only respected war. Now, he doesn't wait. He doesn't beg. He commands.